Yo, what's up guys, my name is Harry and welcome back to a Path of Exile video. I promised to make a build showcase video about the Aurastacker that I've been playing the past few days. I grinded my currency up until this point to actually be able to finish this build, and yeah, this is the end product. So if you think 1.6k life is literally nothing, then let me show you this clip. So yeah, that was a Uber Shaper Slam to the face, and you can survive that. The build actually features 100k armor, 70k, close to 70k evasion, shit ton of regen, and stuff like that. As for defenses, we have around 90% chance to crit 35 million DPS. That is counting one spark projectiles, and we shoot 11 or 12 projectiles. We have 12 cast per second. Now as for our ascendancy, we are running Ascendant for a good reason. Many of the Aurastackers actually use Ascendant just because of the better pathing that comes with the skill tree, right? And with that being said, I think it's actually a good time to hop into POE and show you what we are working with in order to actually achieve all of this. This is pretty much a standard Aurastacker skill tree, but instead of using Interrogation Jewel to rely on that to cap our crit, we are using traditional ways such as a medium cluster that gives us crit, and we are picking up crit nodes, and we have crit on some of our gear as well as on some of the jewels here. Really important thing here is actually to take the Militant Fate with reduced mana per 10 devotion and increased effect of non-curse aura per 10 devotion. If we check our max res, if we just take out this jewel, it's gonna lower our resistances by 1%, but the more important thing is that we have 6 mana cost on our spark, and we are casting 12 per second, so there is no way you're gonna regen that. So that's why we actually need reduced mana cost of skills per 10 devotion, because we have 200 devotion. That means that we have 0 mana cost on most of our spells. As for another thing, Unnatural Instinct, to actually apply all of the small nodes here, and since these two are overlapping, that's how we can actually get our 200 devotion, right? Other than that, we have Impossible Escape, the new jewel that we are using. We are using this with Supreme Ego, so we can take the reservation nodes here. Other than that, we have the Madding of the Flesh to help us get 90% or res. We are using Pain Attunement because it's giving us a shit ton of damage, as you can clearly see, 23% damage. But other than that, we are taking up reservation efficiency nodes and increased effect of non-curse auras on us. We are taking some crit nodes here, we are taking crit nodes here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you think about it, it's a fairly easy to understand tree up until the point where you start to think about some of the jewels that we are using. So basically, if you just check here, we are pathing up to get the reservation and the crit, and after that we are taking one cluster. We are just pathing up, get the crit, get the reservation, get the jewel sockets, right? So it's a fairly easy concept to understand, right? However, now comes the part where you have different versions of the same build we want to play. So we have Lowlife, we have CI, we have a bunch of different versions of Aurastacker, right? This is the version that I think it suits me the best, right? It has good defenses, it has nice DPS, and it has reliable DPS, which is the most important thing for me. Because early on in the league, I tried the budget version, the budget champion Aurastacker, right? And it relied on Secrets of Suffering to actually get crit. It was actually super annoying to get crit with that, just because from time to time I had these scenarios where I had no brittle on the enemy, and it was super annoying because my damage was actually just so bad, right? So with this version, also the build features some of the best defensive layers in terms of chilling and freezing, right? You can chill and freeze mobs, bosses, whatever that you want, and that allows you to actually do super juice content without relying on headhunter or anything like that. But let's actually jump to the cluster section, because this is where most of the stackers differ from one another, right? So for this version that I'm using an 8 passive Blanket as Snow, Blast Freeze and Disorienting Display dual. Now both Blast Freeze and Disorienting Display, they are defensive notables, right? So if you just check Blast Freeze, for example, freezes you inflict spread to other enemies within a radius of 12. That means that once you are chilling or freezing one enemy, all the other enemies will get freezed around that one enemy. That allows you to freeze the entire screens or packs of monsters, right? Another one is Disorienting Display, and that is giving us chance to blind enemies when we are using elemental skills, and since we are casting 12 times a second with a 10% chance, we are actually blinding all the nearby enemies. So with this version we actually need to use 3 introspection jewels in order to cap our resistances up until 90%. So we have 1 introspection here with chaos res, 1 here with chaos res and dexterity. I actually needed dexterity. I need 156, I believe, so I needed these to actually meet the dexterity requirements that I need for my my gem. Now if you check another cluster, that is Blanket as Snow, Doriani's Lesson and Snowstorm. Now this one is fairly standard. I think what I'm missing is Storm Rider. That would give us power charges. However, instead of Storm Rider, I have Doriani's Lesson here. That's giving us a leech, and this is a huge thing. If we check 663 life leech on hit, just because this one notable, right? We have our last introspection in this cluster with also chaos res, and we are using 1 medium cluster jaw with pressure points and quick getaway. Now this is giving us crit chance, double damage chance and attack and cast speed. And we have 1 Watcher's Eye here with crit chance while affected by hatred, cast speed while affected by zealotry, and penetrate elemental resistances while affected with zealotry. And as for our last cluster, we are using a 3 passive voices. You can obviously use a 1 passive, and with the small jewels that we have here, we have crit multi, life, crit chance, same goes here. Crit chance, crit multi life, and we have crit chance, crit multi, and crit multi again. As for our Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flash jewel, we are using Necromancer. If you just check here, it's giving us 1.5 cast rate and just about 4 million DPS, just because we have Necromancer. So if you check here, it's giving you increased attack and cast speed with each and every of the auras that you have applied to you, and since we are using a few auras, that is a lot of cast rate. If we hop back in game and check the gear section that we are using, we have a few important things. Thing is, we actually require a mage belt just because we need to cap our resistances somehow, while we have no resistances on our gear. So we have 144 fire res, 161 cold res and such like that. But if I just remove this 1 flask, look at that. Mage belt, you can hate on it, but it's just ridiculous. Other than that, we are using diamond flask, and this is really important. We actually need this craft that is giving you 25% reduced mana cost of skill during flask effect. Now if you check here, as we discussed, spark costs no mana for us to cast, but if I just remove this, it's all of a sudden costing us 26 mana, and I cannot even cast it, right? Other than that, we are using 1 ruby flask with increased cast speed during flask effect, and for our last flask, we are actually using a chaos resist flask with the flask enchant that's giving us 3% of life per second regen. When it comes down to gear, we are using 1 Call of the Brotherhood with Varat. We need to get Varat on a ring just because we have no room, we have no sockets to actually put Varat in. The other one is a fairly standard one. You could replace this if you have enough resistances. You can replace this with increased effect of zealotry or whatever you like. As for the amulet slot, we are using Ashes of the Star, and it's no surprise, Ashes opens up the possibility to use alternate quality gems, and yeah, those are huge. Other than that, it's giving us increased reservation efficiency, 30 quality, and 1 all skill gems, so it's just a no-brainer, right? We are anointing this with Champion of the Cause. Again, reservation and effect of non-curse auras. Now, as for our chest piece, we are using a Grasping Veil with Fractured, increased global defenses, and +1 level to socketed in gems with life. Now, the thing with this chest, it's actually it's harder to farm up the currency for the base than actually crafting the chest itself. Now, you can get +1 level of socketed engines just with faceted fossils, and other than that, you can just slap on some life fossils and whatnot, and you can start rolling your chest piece. As for our helm, there is a few important things here. We need obviously the Labyrinth Enchant that spark fires 3 additional projectiles, and after that, we actually need an increased effect of non-curse aura implicit. On top of that, we need the increased mana reservation efficiency of skills suffix. So that's another thing. Basically, you need to look out for these 3 things: increased effect of non-curse aura and mana reservation. After that, if you have open suffixes or prefixes, you can fill them. I have level of socketed melee gems and melee strike range, just because we are using our smite in our helm. As for our gloves, we are looking for level of socketed projectile gems. We are looking for faster approach, faster casting, crit chance, crit multi, and additional pierce. And yeah, that's basically it. We are looking for these ones. If I were to check trade side, you can get like level 16 of faster approach and stuff like that for around like 40x, 30 to 40x. So you can get started with way less. However, it's actually giving you, since most of our damage is coming from our gloves, if you can get a good gloves, definitely I recommend you doing that. And as for our weapons of choice, we are using Nebulis, obviously. However, what's interesting here is that we are not using double damage Nebulises, we are using crit multi and increased elemental damage. Let me talk about the gems real quick. So we are using, in the gloves, we are using our main damaging skill, that is Spark. We are using Anomalous Spark to have extra pierces. So if you check here, it's giving us 5 pierces just because we are not using a regular Spark, we are using Anomalous Spark. Now, if you opt to get another version of the Spark, I would not recommend that. We are shooting like 11 projectiles. Now you can get up to like 16 projectiles with another alternate quality gem, but I believe Pierce is king. We are using Divergent Inspiration support just so we can have 0 cost of our Spark. Other than that, Awaken Cold Pan and Awaken Spell Echo just to have more cast speed, chance to deal double damage, and so on and so forth. As for our chest piece, we are using Grace, Hatred, Divergent Determination. This is really important just because it's giving us 5% of evasion rating as extra armor, and we have a bunch of evasion. We have an Enlightened support level 4, and since we have +1 of socketed in gems, this is becoming level 5. That allows us to reserve more mana or more skills. We are using Purity of Light. Now then again, +1 from the chest piece actually is king, just because we have a 21 Purity of Lightning that's getting +1 levels from the ashes and +1 from our chest piece. That's bringing it up to 23. Now the difference between 22 and 23 is that on 23 it's giving us 5 additional maximum lightning resistances instead of 4, and that allows us to have 90% auras instead of 87. Our last one is actually Wall Haste. One more thing with the chest piece, you actually need to get this specific Searing, Exarch and Ether of Word implicits, just so you can have a perfect balance and have 90 auras. So that is increased effect of non-curse auras and Purity of Lightning. In our helm, we are running Empower level 4, we are running Divergent Righteous Fire, again alternate quality gems, just because it's giving us extra spell damage. Phantasmal Smite, it's giving us 12% increased attack and cast speed. and anomalous defense banner. Then again, it's giving us a bunch of extra armor and evasion. In our boots, we are running Molten Shell, Wall Molten Shell, we are running Sniper's Mark, we are running a level 4 anomalous precision. Now, level 4, it seems like it's not doing us justice, right? So if you just check here, it's just 18 mana to use a level 4 precision, right? However, if you just check here, we have 49 basically 50% chance to crit, and with this we have 58.5. So just because we are running a level 4 precision, it's giving us a bunch of crit, and I'm running Flame Dash. Now, I don't have a specific reason why I'm running Flame Dash. I just hate Leap Slam, and that's basically it. Other than that, we have our Divine Blessing, Inspiration Support, and Anomalous Zealotry. Now, that means that we can cast a Zealotry for free every 17 seconds. Now, if you find this annoying, it's actually giving you a gazillion damage. If you just check in POE, and if I were to check Zealotry, right, if I take this off, it's giving us close to half of our damage, right? So it's actually just ridiculous. You need to cast this every 17 seconds. You get used to it in no time. In our second one, we are using Arrogance Support, Anomalous Petrified Blood, and Vitality. And that is basically it. Now, a few notes if you wanna actually like try to build it yourself. If you think about the price, because I'm not even gonna give you a price of this. I don't know. It was every other day. It was just 50 more X, just 50 more X, just 80 more X, just 30 more X. It's just actually just crazy. It's a money sink, definitely a money sink. Now I feel like the build is done. I'm happy with it. I just did a 100% Delhi Super Juice Tropical Island. It can walk through it like no problem. You're not gonna get randomly one shot. You have good defenses, you have insane DPS, but yeah, it's actually a mirror thing if you think about it, and it's not even finished. Like, it's a stacker build, it's obviously gonna cost you a bunch. However, if you have the means and if you have the currency, and if you wanna play a build that is super good in terms of survivability, in terms of damage, I can just recommend this. However, don't cheap out on stuff. If you think that you can get away with a normal Defiance banner instead of a Divergent one, or if you think that you can get away with normal Petrified Blood instead of Anomalous Petrified Blood, it's not gonna work. The build's gonna feel like shit. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned, more content to come this week, and yeah, you guys have fun, and I talk to you very soon.